You checked your bank account this morning and something's different. That direct deposit you've been waiting for, it just landed. And for thousands of Americans, there's another one coming right behind it. This isn't a glitch, and it's not too good to be true. The Social Security Administration has just confirmed a weekend deposit wave that's putting double payments into the accounts of eligible seniors, SSI recipients, SSDI beneficiaries, and veterans across the country. Right now, while you're watching this, payment schedules are being adjusted due to how federal banking holidays align with your regular payment dates. When your scheduled payment date falls on a weekend or federal holiday, the Treasury Department's rule is clear. You get paid on the last banking day before that date. That means if you're typically paid on the first of the month and it falls on a Saturday or Sunday, your money arrives on Friday. But here's where it gets interesting. Some recipients are seeing both their regular monthly payment and a supplemental adjustment arriving in the same weekend window. This isn't speculation or rumor. This is how federal payment timing actually works, and understanding it could mean the difference between financial stress and having your money exactly when you need it. Let me walk you through exactly what's happening right now with your Social Security payments, because there's a lot of confusion out there, and you deserve to know the complete truth about your money. The Social Security Administration processes over 70 million payments every single month, and the timing of these payments follows a very specific schedule that most people don't fully understand until something unusual happens. What we're seeing right now is the result of how federal payment schedules interact with banking holidays and weekend closures, and for many of you watching this, it means your payment timing is shifting in ways that might look surprising when you check your bank account. The federal government has strict rules about when benefit payments can be distributed, and these rules are designed to make sure you never have to wait longer than necessary for money you're entitled to receive. When your regular payment date falls on a Saturday, Sunday, or federal holiday, the Treasury Department requires that your payment be issued on the last business day before that date. This isn't optional, and it isn't something that changes from month to month based on the government's mood. It's written into federal law, specifically Title 31 of the Code of Federal Regulations, which governs all federal payments, including Social Security retirement benefits, supplemental security income, Social Security disability insurance, and Veterans Affairs compensation. Now, here's where things get really interesting for those of you who receive SSI payments. Unlike Social Security retirement or SSDI payments, which are distributed throughout the month based on your birth date, SSI payments always go out on the first of the month. Always. But when the first falls on a weekend or holiday, that payment moves to the last banking day of the previous month. So if you're an SSI recipient and the first of the month is a Saturday, you're actually getting paid on the Friday before, which is technically still the previous month. This is where some of you are seeing what looks like double payments, because you might be receiving your advanced SSI payment for the upcoming month, while also receiving your regular Social Security retirement or SSDI payment in the same few days. Let's break down the calendar situation that's causing this weekend deposit wave right now. When federal holidays align with the beginning or middle of the month, and when those dates happen to fall on weekends, it creates a compression effect where multiple payments that would normally be spread out over several days all land in a much shorter window. The Social Security Administration doesn't have the flexibility to just hold your money until a more convenient time. Federal law requires them to get that money to you as soon as they're legally allowed to do so, and when the calendar creates these situations, payments bunch up. For veterans receiving both VA compensation and Social Security benefits, this timing can create an especially noticeable impact on your account. VA benefits typically arrive on the first of the month, following the same weekend and holiday rules as SSI. So if you're a veteran who also receives Social Security based on your work history, and you're also receiving SSDI or SSI, you could potentially see 3 different deposits arriving within a 48 to 72-hour period. This isn't the government making a mistake or giving you extra money you'll have to pay back later. This is simply the natural result of how federal payment schedules are structured and how they interact with the banking calendar. The payment schedule for Social Security retirement and SSDI benefits is based on your birth date, and this system has been in place since 1997. If you were born between the 1st and 10th of the month, your payment arrives on the second Wednesday of each month. If you were born between the 11th and 20th, you get paid on the third Wednesday. And if your birthday falls between the 21st and 31st, your payment comes on the fourth Wednesday. But all of these dates are subject to the same weekend and holiday rules. If your scheduled Wednesday falls on a holiday, your payment moves to the day before. This creates situations throughout the year where your payment arrives earlier than you might expect. What makes this current situation particularly noteworthy is how multiple payment schedules are aligning at the same time. When you have SSI payments moving forward from the first of the month, regular Social Security payments potentially shifting due to holidays, and VA payments following their own adjusted schedule, you get this perfect storm of deposits that all land in people's accounts during the same weekend period. The Social Security Administration has confirmed that all of these payments are processing according to schedule. And if you're eligible for multiple benefit types, yes, you absolutely should be receiving all of them in whatever compressed time frame the calendar creates. Now, I want to address something really important about payment amounts because I know some of you are wondering if these double payments mean you're actually getting extra money or if this is just timing. The answer is it's about timing, but that doesn't make it any less significant for your financial planning. You're not receiving double the amount you're entitled to for a single month. What's happening is you're receiving separate payments that you're entitled to for different reasons or different time periods, and they're all arriving at once. If you receive both SSI and Social Security retirement, those are two distinct programs with two distinct payment calculations, and you're entitled to both. The fact that they're arriving in the same weekend doesn't change what you're owed. It just changes when that money hits your account. For those of you who are concerned about whether you need to report this to Social Security or whether you might have to pay something back, let me put your mind at ease. If the Social Security Administration deposits money into your account and that deposit is part of your regular payment schedule, even if the timing is unusual due to weekends or holidays, that money is yours. You don't need to call them. You don't need to report it. You don't need to worry about repayment. The only time you would ever need to be concerned about returning money to Social Security is if you received a payment you weren't entitled to at all, like if you continued receiving benefits after you were no longer eligible, or if there was a genuine overpayment due to an error in calculating your benefit amount. Calendar-based timing adjustments are not overpayments. The banking side of this is also worth understanding, because not everyone sees their deposits at exactly the same time, even if Social Security released the payment on the same day. Your bank or credit union has its own processing schedule for incoming direct deposits. Most financial institutions process federal payments overnight and make them available first thing in the morning on the official payment date. But some banks release funds as soon as they receive the deposit notification from the federal government, which can be a day or even 2 days early. This is why you might see people online saying they got their payment on Thursday when the official payment date is Friday. It's not that some people are getting paid before others in terms of the government's schedule. It's that their banks are making the funds available earlier. If you're someone who relies on these payments for essential expenses like rent, utilities, medication, or food, understanding this timing is absolutely critical for your financial planning. Knowing that your payment might arrive a day or two early when holidays are involved means you can plan your bill payments accordingly. It means you're not going to be caught off guard when money shows up in your account earlier than expected, and it means you can structure your monthly budget around the reality of how federal payments actually work, rather than just assuming everything arrives on the same day every month. There's also an important consideration here for those of you who have automatic payments set up through your bank. If you've scheduled bill payments based on when you think your Social Security deposit will arrive, and then that deposit comes early due to a holiday, your automatic payments might process before you expected them to. This is usually fine and actually works in your favor, but it's something to be aware of. On the flip side, if you've been cutting it close with your payment timing and your deposit comes even 1 day later than you anticipated, because of how a particular month's calendar works out, you could end up with overdraft fees or missed payments. This is why I always recommend building a small buffer in your checking account if you possibly can, even just $50 or $100, so that you're not living right on the edge of every deposit. The Social Security Administration has a payment calendar available on their website that shows you every payment date for the entire year, including all the adjustments for weekends and holidays. This calendar is updated annually, and it's one of the most valuable tools you can use for financial planning. You can print it out, put it on your refrigerator, and know exactly when every single payment is going to arrive for the next 12 months. There's no guessing, no uncertainty, and no surprises. If more people took 10 minutes to look at this calendar and understand how it works, there would be far less confusion every time a holiday creates an adjusted payment schedule. For SSDI recipients specifically, your payment schedule follows the same birth date system as retirement benefits, but there's one exception. If you were receiving SSDI before May 1997, you're actually on the old payment schedule, which means you get paid on the 3rd of every month, regardless of your birth date, and those payments follow the same weekend and holiday adjustment rules. So if the 3rd falls on a Saturday, you get paid on Friday the 2nd. This affects a smaller number of people now because we're almost 30 years past that cutoff date. But if you're a long-term SSDI recipient, this is how your payments work. Veterans compensation from the VA operates on a similar principle, but with its own specific rules. The VA aims to have payments in your account on the 1st of the month, but because they're distributing millions of payments simultaneously, the actual deposit timing can vary slightly depending on your bank. The VA releases payments several days before the first to account for banking processing time, which is why many veterans see their deposits arrive on the last day or two of the previous month. When you combine this with Social Security payments that might also be adjusted for holiday timing, you can absolutely see multiple large deposits arriving within a very short window. One thing that's really important to understand is that the government isn't doing anything differently right now than they do every single month. The laws governing payment timing haven't changed. The regulations haven't been updated. What's happening is simply the natural result of how the calendar falls this particular month and how that interacts with the established rules that have been in place for years. The reason this is making news and why people are talking about it as a weekend deposit wave is simply because the compression of payments into a short time frame makes it more noticeable than usual. When 3 or 4 payments that might normally be spread across a week or two all arrive on the same Friday, people notice and they start asking questions. The reliability of Social Security and VA payments is actually one of the most remarkable things about these programs. Unlike many aspects of government that can be unpredictable or subject to political delays, benefit payments go out like clockwork month after month, year after year, regardless of what else is happening in Washington. The Treasury Department treats these payments as mandatory spending, which means they're not subject to the annual appropriations process that can lead to government shutdowns affecting other programs. Your Social Security check is going to arrive on schedule even if Congress hasn't passed a budget. Your VA compensation is going to hit your account on the 1st of the month, even if there are political battles happening over other spending. This reliability is built into the law precisely because lawmakers understood that millions of Americans depend on these payments for their basic survival. If you haven't received a payment that you believe you should have received based on the schedule, the first thing to do is check the official Social Security payment calendar to confirm what the actual payment date should be. If that date has passed and you still don't have your deposit, then it's appropriate to contact Social Security. You can call their national customer service line at 1-800-772-1213. And while, yes, you might be on hold for a while, they can look up your account and tell you exactly when your payment was issued and where it was sent. If there's a problem with your direct deposit information, or if a payment was returned to the Treasury for some reason, they can identify that and help you resolve it. The bottom line is this: the weekend deposit wave that people are experiencing right now is real, it's legitimate, and if you're seeing multiple payments in your account over a short period, that's exactly what's supposed to be happening based on how the federal payment calendar works. You're not getting free money, but you're also not doing anything wrong by receiving these payments. This is your money earned through your work history, your service to the country, or your eligibility for need-based programs, and the government is simply following the rules to get it to you as quickly as the law allows.